rise and fall of Israel's alliances with Egypt and pagan nations, from David to the fall of Samaria. In the golden days of King David, Israel stood as a nation whose strength came not from treaties or armies, but from the covenant of the living God. Around 1010 BC, David's throne was established in Jerusalem, and his victories over the Philistines, Moabites, Ammonites, and Edomites came not through foreign aid, but divine favor. As the scriptures record, the Lord gave David victory wherever he went. 2 Samuel 8:14. David's era was defined by separation from pagan politics. His kingdom was built upon worship, not worldly alliance. Israel's borders expanded, its capital was consecrated, and its trust was in Yahweh alone. But as peace settled and prosperity grew under his son Solomon, a new chapter began, one that would redefine the heart of Israel's diplomacy. Solomon, ascending to the throne around 970 BC, inherited not a kingdom in war, but in wealth. Seeking to secure peace by human means, Solomon forged an alliance with Egypt, not through covenant with God, but through marriage. Solomon made an alliance with Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and married his daughter. 1 Kings 3:1. This was the first recorded union between Israel's monarchy and a pagan empire. It symbolized more than political wisdom. It was the beginning of compromise. Through that Egyptian marriage came luxury, trade, and international recognition. Pharaoh's dowry even included the city of Gezer, once a Canaanite stronghold. 1 Kings 9:16. Yet, while Solomon's wisdom brought wealth, his heart began to lean toward the foreign gods of his many wives. The alliances multiplied. Moabite, Ammonite, Sidonian, and Hittite princesses filled his courts. His wives turned away his heart after other gods. 1 Kings 11:4. The king who built the temple of Yahweh also built altars to Chemosh and Molech. The seeds of idolatry were sown in the soil of diplomacy. After Solomon's death, the unity of Israel fractured. Around 931 BC, his kingdom split into two: the northern kingdom of Israel under Jeroboam, and the southern kingdom of Judah under Rehoboam. The division marked the beginning of political instability, and the temptation to seek security in foreign arms grew stronger. Egypt, once a partner, now became a threat. Pharaoh Shishak invaded Judah, carrying off treasures from Solomon's temple and palace. 1 Kings 14:25-26. The alliance that began in marriage ended in humiliation. As generations passed, both Israel and Judah continued to look beyond their covenant with God. Kings turned to treaties, marriages, and bribes to protect their thrones. Ahab of Israel, 874 to 853 BC, followed Solomon's pattern, but with darker intent. He married Jezebel, the Phoenician princess of Sidon, bringing Baal worship into the royal palace. 1 Kings 16:31 to 33. What had once been a political alliance became spiritual corruption, and Elijah's fiery confrontation on Mount Carmel exposed the heart of Israel's rebellion. In the southern kingdom, even righteous kings stumbled in diplomacy. Jehoshaphat of Judah, though faithful to God, allied himself with Ahab through the marriage of his son Jehoram to Ahab's daughter Athaliah. 2 Kings 8:18. The prophet Jehu rebuked him sharply. Should you help the wicked and love those who hate the Lord? 2 Chronicles 19:2. Such alliances, meant for peace, brought moral decay instead. By the 8th century BC, the geopolitical world had shifted. Assyria's power grew like a storm from the northeast, swallowing smaller nations one by one. Fear drove kings to seek protection wherever it could be found, and Egypt became the false hope of the region. Isaiah and Hosea both thundered against this misplaced trust. Woe to those who go down to Egypt for help, but do not look to the Holy One of Israel. Isaiah 31:1. Yet the warnings went unheeded. Hoshea, Israel's final king, 732 to 722 BC, made the fatal mistake of following that same path. Paying tribute to Assyria at first, he later turned secretly to Egypt for support, hoping to rebel against Assyrian control. The king of Assyria discovered the plot, imprisoned Hoshea, and besieged Samaria. 2 Kings 17:3-6. After 3 years, the city fell. The northern kingdom was destroyed, and its people were carried away into exile. The 10 tribes were scattered, a solemn fulfillment of centuries of prophetic warnings. Summary. From David's pure covenantal rule to Solomon's compromising marriages, from Ahab's idolatry to Hoshea's fatal alliance, the history of Israel's diplomacy tells one unbroken story. When a nation that once trusted in God begins to trust in men, its downfall becomes inevitable. Egypt, once a refuge in Joseph's day, had become the very symbol of misplaced faith. Every alliance, every treaty, every marriage that mingled holiness with pagan power carried a spiritual cost. As Hosea lamented, Ephraim is like a dove, easily deceived and senseless, now calling to Egypt, now turning to Assyria. Hosea 7:11. The story of 720 BC is not just political, it is spiritual. The fall of Israel stands as a warning to every generation. God's covenant people are never meant to find their security in alliances, but in Him alone